If you've ever felt like everybody else is moving forward, ticking off milestones, while you are still trying to figure things out, this might help. Because for a long time, that's exactly how I felt. And no, this is not a how I've made it story. It's more a quiet shift in how you see yourself. Back then, I thought I was just lazy, or scattered, or just bad at life. But looking back, maybe there was something else going on. And if you've ever felt the same, I think this will feel familiar. I've never really fit the mold. I always did things differently. Not wrong, just usually not in the way they were intended. But when I got married and started my own business, my coffee shop, I started thinking about the future seriously for the first time in my life. And I wanted the future to be good, not to be super great, majestic, being rich, just good, solid, safe. But instead of feeling calm, I suddenly felt pressure. Everybody around me was checking boxes, houses, vacations, their retirement, while I was just there trying to catch my breath. That's when the doubt started to creep in. At first, I told myself it was just exhaustion, long days, too much on my plate. But after a while, something just felt off. If I was doing all the right things, why did it still feel like I'm behind? I heard friends talking about their big vacations, renovations, all the things they excel at life. And then there's me, wiping tables after a 12-hour shift, knowing I still have to do admin work when I get home. One night, the grinder broke, and I was just standing there, looking at it and thinking, yeah, cool. That's exactly what I needed now. That's the thing that was missing. And I had no energy left, no energy to Google, no energy to find a solution. I just, for some reason, that dumb grinder breaking down was the final straw. And I was next to the bins in the back of the shop, broke down and cried. Prime moment. I can really recommend that. What I'm trying to say with this small snippet is, even though I've built something real, something people liked, I felt I was failing. I felt like a loser. And the worst part was I couldn't even explain why. I couldn't explain why I was feeling like that. You can be doing everything right and you can still feel like you're losing. And once I started believing that, that's when it really started to spiral. Because that's the thing about burnout. Once it cracks open, everything started to flush in. And every little mistake is the end of the world and feels like proof that, yeah, you are in fact failing. And the self-talk, brutal. I kept telling myself, you're a loser. Of course you cannot make this. Why should anybody like what you're doing? There's no way you're doing something great. And the worst part is, I knew some of it wasn't true. I knew success, especially online, is very curated. That people post their wins, not their real life, not when they're struggling. But it still got to me. I still was in this spiral. I felt like everybody has gotten the manual to life, but me. That was the loop I was stuck in. Fake it and somehow get by, or be really yourself and truly fall down in life. At least that's what I believed in at that time. When you're in this mindset, it gets harder and harder to see the good things, the things you're actually good at. All I could focus on in that time was on my failures, on all the things I wasn't. Eventually, things started to change. Not all at once, not a big moment, but gradually. My inner critic got so loud that I could no longer ignore it. And once I noticed that, it was hard to ignore. But I also noticed something else. Everybody is pretending a little. Everybody seems to hide their failures. They try to make it look easier than it actually is. And once I really noticed that, I felt seen. I felt less broken. Somehow it made me feel less alone. It didn't fix everything, but it softened something in me. And that gave me just enough space to look at my own story a little bit more clearly. That's also when I started to go to therapy. And I didn't have a big breakthrough. I just finally could admit that I couldn't figure this out all alone. I stopped pretending I just needed to work harder. I finally let my guard down enough to let in help. And I also started wondering, maybe there's a reason I feel always so behind. Turns out, during one of the therapy sessions, there's a reason. I got diagnosed with ADHD, and so many things started to make sense. Like I could hyper focus on something, mostly the wrong thing, or completely forget to answer an email or a message to a friend for weeks and then feeling very guilty about that. Or opening up to complete strangers way too fast. Or feeling super behind in life and wondering what's happening even though I'm doing my best and working my ass off and still feel I'm failing. So many things started to become clear for me. It wasn't that I wasn't trying hard enough. My brain is just wired differently. And learning that didn't fix everything. No. But it helped me understand how I work, and it gave me a framework I could use. And for the first time, I could really look at what I have built without picking it apart immediately. The coffee shop, it wasn't just a job. It was a place people felt like their home. One customer actually told me he feels like he's in his living room. And that means something. That is wonderful. I actually built something people feel safe. People feel at home and they can relax there. And that is wonderful. This is great. It makes me happy now, looking back at that. Maybe I didn't build a business empire, but I built something. I built a place where people can feel safe to be themselves, where they can relax, where they don't have to pretend, or maybe pretend a little bit less who they actually are. And that's something I can be proud of that. So if any of this sounds familiar, if you ever thought your brain is just wired differently, no matter if you have ADHD or not, and you thought to yourself, why can't I just do life like other people can? Why can't I adult? Then I want you to hear this clearly. You're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be understood, especially by yourself. When I understood this, that's when things really started to shift for me. Maybe I wasn't behind. Maybe I was just measuring the wrong things and chasing a life that was just not for me. And please don't take me as some guru that has it all figured out, because I really do not. Because I still don't really know. And I still have really bad days. And I still talk to myself badly. Some, just less. Because getting better is not linear. Getting better is messy. And it takes a lot of work. But recognizing the differences, recognizing my path, my way of living, and that it's different and that's okay, that's a big step forward. Once you realize that, that is freeing. It feels like a small piece of weight just fell off your back, and you can stand a little bit taller and smile more. I stopped trying to become a version of myself I thought I have to be, and leaned more into the person I want to be and I already am. That version is a little weird. I'm a little bit strange at times. I lose my point, but it's okay. It's okay to be a little bit weird. It's okay to maybe even be a little bit awkward. But it's real. It's being me. Turns out, it's okay to be a little bit weird. It's okay to be a little bit cringe. People will talk. Let them talk. It's not their life. It's yours. And you can finally claim it. And claiming your own life, let me tell you, it feels amazing. Hard work, but definitely worth it. So if you feel you're behind right now, just know you're not. You're just building something different. Something that actually fits you. And that kind of life, it takes time. You're not late. You're early to something that hasn't been built yet. So please be gentle to yourself and enjoy the small wins. Thank you so much for taking the time with me today. Have a wonderful day. See you next time. Take care. Bye.